I never thought the woman I married, the woman I trusted with my entire life, the one whose dreams I cradled in my hands like fragile glass, would look at me and see nothing more than a joke, a shadow to be swept away, until she called me a janitor in front of the one person I thought I'd never see again, her high school crush who reappeared like a ghost from a forgotten yearbook, shattering the illusion of our perfect union in a single, venomous breath. Our love had been a tapestry woven from 12 years of the most selfless devotion I had ever known. Elena started as a brilliant but broke coder, crashing on a futon in a one-room apartment that smelled of instant noodles and desperation. Her startup nothing but colorful sticky notes plastered across cracked walls. I was already running a modest financial consulting firm, but from the moment she showed me her first crude app demo on a flickering laptop screen, I was all in. I sold my prized vintage Mustang, the one my late father had restored with me, to buy her first proper server rack. I took on double shifts, moonlighting as a consultant for anyone who would pay, just so she could quit her dead-end, waitressing job and code full-time. When investors slammed doors in her face, calling her ideas cute but uninvestable, I stayed up until 4 a.m. proofreading every single pitch deck, tweaking the language until the numbers sang. I leveraged every contact I'd built over years in finance. Quiet, humble introductions at charity galas where I held her coat in the shadows while she dazzled the room with that fierce intelligence and radiant smile. I remember the night her series of finally closed. We celebrated on the rusty fire escape of our old building with cheap Chinese takeout and warm beer, city lights glittering below like scattered diamonds. She broke down, crying into my shoulder, mascara streaking, whispering through sobs. We did it, Alex. We really did it together. I kissed her temple, tasting salt, and told her, "You did it, love." I just held the ladder steady. Those shared victories were everything, sweeter than any solo one I could ever claim. As the company exploded into a tech powerhouse, I dissolved my own firm without hesitation, became her silent partner, and funneled every penny of my inheritance through anonymous shell companies so she could stand on stage at conferences and proudly declare herself self-made. I never craved the spotlight. Watching her shine under it was my greatest reward. I even learned to cook her favorite meals, creamy garlic pasta after brutal investor days, and rubbed her aching shoulders while she vented, promising her the world because I believed our love could carry anything. Before we get into this, if you've ever felt betrayed by someone you loved, drop heartbroken in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Our life together was painted in the most intimate sensory strokes that only two people who have truly built something from nothing can understand. The warm vanilla and coffee scent of her perfume clinging to my shirt after late-night strategy sessions. The soft rhythmic click of her keyboard drifting downstairs while I stirred risotto in the kitchen. The way she would collapse against my chest after a punishing board meeting. Her breath warm on my neck as she murmured, "You're my safe place. Alex, always." Flashback hit me even now. Our 5th anniversary in that tiny rented cabin in the mountains. No glitz, no investors, just us. Snow fell silently outside the frosted windows while I accidentally burned the steaks on the old wood stove. She laughed until tears came, then pulled me down onto the thick rug in front of the crackling fireplace, her fingers tracing my jaw as she whispered, "Forever starts tonight." And I mean it. Another memory that still ached. The day our daughter, Lily, was born, 18 grueling hours of labor. Elena gripping my hand so hard her nails drew blood, then cradling our tiny pink bundle and looking up at me with exhausted, shining eyes. "Look what we made, Alex. Look what our love built." Then came the annual corporate gala, the grandest one yet. Crystal chandeliers, fractured golden light across hundreds of champagne flutes. The air thick with the heady mix of expensive cologne, popping bubbles, and the low hum of string quartet music floating over hushed power deals. Ryan appeared like a ghost from a glossy magazine. Tall, impeccably tailored. That same cocky, easy grin from old high school yearbook photos, now sharpened by millions in venture capital and effortless charm. Elena's entire face transformed the moment she saw him. Her eyes sparkled the way they used to sparkle, only for me. Her hand lingered too long on his forearm. Her laugh, the one I thought was mine alone, rang out bright and flirtatious as they reminisced about prom nights and hallway glances. My heart swelled with quiet pride anyway. I straightened my tie and stepped forward, already imagining her sliding her arm through mine and saying the words I had earned with blood and sacrifice. "This is Alex, my incredible husband, the man who believed in me when the whole world laughed." Instead, as Ryan's curious gaze slid toward me, Elena waved a perfectly manicured hand in my direction like I was an annoying waiter. "Oh, that's just Alex," she said, her voice light, casual, and devastatingly cruel. "Our janitor. Keeps things tidy around here." Her laughter spilled out, sharp and performative, like shattered glass. Ryan joined in with an amused chuckle, raising his glass as if to toast the joke. Was this the same woman I married? Or had I been living next to a stranger all these years? The question slammed into me like a freight train, cracking open every memory, every sacrifice, every whispered, "I love you," until they all felt like lies. The humiliation didn't stop there. It multiplied. A junior executive, standing 2 feet away, muttered to his date, loud enough for me to hear, "But why is a janitor dressed like this? Custom Armani suit, Rolex on his wrist. None of it adds up." Snickers rippled outward. Then a tipsy senior board member, face flushed from too much scotch, slurred loudly across the circle, "Hey, janitor, come clean up this spilled champagne over here. Looks like you could use the overtime, buddy." The whole cluster erupted in drunken, roaring laughter. Colleagues I had quietly mentored, investors I had vouched for behind the scenes, they all laughed. Elena didn't correct them. She didn't even glance my way. She simply turned back to Ryan, touched his sleeve again, and continued laughing as if I had already vanished from existence. My chest caved inward. Heat flooded my face so intensely I could feel my ears burning. My throat closed around a scream I refused to release. The metallic taste of panic coated my tongue. The clink of glasses around me sounded like mockery. Her vanilla perfume, once comforting, now turned my stomach. Flashback crashed over me. Her whispering, "I love you forever," on our wedding night under soft string lights, now poisoned forever. I locked eyes with her for one single heartbeat. A fleeting flicker of guilt crossed her face before she looked away, choosing him. With every ounce of dignity I had left, I silently excused myself, shoulders squared, weaving through the sea of laughing faces like a ghost, the cold night air hitting my burning skin as I fled to the valet. I drove aimlessly for hours, eventually collapsing into a cheap roadside motel room that smelled of stale cigarettes and regret, pacing the threadbare carpet until dawn, replaying every second until the pain felt physical, like shards of glass embedded in my ribs. That night I didn't sleep. I questioned everything. Every late night, every dollar sacrificed, every time I chose her spotlight over my own. The betrayal wasn't just the words. It was how effortlessly she erased 12 years of us. When Elena finally stumbled home at 2 a.m., her heels echoing sharply on the marble foyer, I was waiting in the darkened living room, Scotch glass trembling in my hand. "How could you do that to me?" I asked, voice raw and cracking. She rolled her eyes, tossing her clutch onto the couch with a sigh. "Oh, Alex, don't be so childish. It was just a joke. Ryan gets my high school humor. You're blowing this way out of proportion." The casual dismissal sliced deeper than any public laugh. I swallowed the rage, stepped close, kissed her forehead with a gentleness that cost me everything, and murmured, "Okay, I'm not angry, just hurt. But I have a sudden business trip. Old contacts need my input urgently. I'll be back in about a week or so." I grabbed the pre-packed suitcase I prepared earlier and left, the front door clicking shut behind me like the final page of our story. If you've ever been betrayed like this, comment where you're watching from and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the story, because what came next was silent, calculated, and inevitable. The revenge unfolded like a slow, Masterful chess game played across 7 meticulously planned days, while I wore the mask of the perfect, loving husband from afar. Day went on in my hotel suite. I called Marcus, my loyal attorney of 15 years. "It's time," I said simply. We spent 4 hours auditing every hidden asset. My 38% founding stake held anonymously through layered shells, plus the additional 13% I had quietly accumulated during market dips no one knew about. By noon, I authorized the first small 5 to 10% blocks to be sold off-market. Each confirmation ping on my laptop felt like a quiet victory, a single thread pulled from the empire she thought was hers alone. Day 2. While Elena texted me heart emojis asking how my trip was going, I was on a secure video call with Vanguard Dynamics CEO, an old rival of hers. "Alex, you're really doing this?" he asked, eyes gleaming. I laid out the full 51% package at a 40% premium plus permanent veto rights on her future role. Negotiations stretched until midnight. The wire hit my Cayman account as I ended our nightly call with her. "Love you, babe. Sleep well. I'll fix everything when I'm home." The sweetness in my voice while destroying her world was the first deep, private satisfaction. Day 3. I sent back-channel emails to the 3 largest clients I had personally brought in years earlier, planting subtle seeds of leadership instability with carefully anonymized documents. One CEO called me directly. "We always trusted you more than her, Alex." They agreed to defect the moment the takeover was public. That same afternoon, I had a bouquet of her favorite white lilies delivered to her office with a card. "To my brilliant CEO wife, proud of you every single day." I smiled reading her grateful reply while watching her stock tick down another 4%. Day 4. 5 separate encrypted calls to key board members, each preceded by a proof packet of my hidden contributions. Wire records, Ghostrant strategies, introduction logs. "You've been the real architect all along," one whispered in shock. By evening, I had a quiet majority quorum committed. Another small, internal victory, imagining her walking into the next meeting completely unaware. Days 5 and 6. I quietly liquidated joint assets. The Aspen vacation home transferred solely to my trust. The luxury cars refinanced in my name only. I leaked precise instability tips to 2 respected finance bloggers. Her stock dropped another 15%. Elena called me in tears that evening. "Alex, clients are leaving left and right. What is happening? I feel like the company is slipping through my fingers." I soothed her with the softest voice. "It'll pass, my love. I'm right here for you always." Each broken sob in her voice echoed the humiliation she had served me at the gala. The symmetry was exquisite. Day 7. I returned home. She rushed into my arms, clinging desperately. That afternoon, at the emergency board meeting, the air thick with panic and stale coffee, I walked in last. Charcoal suit crisp, expression calm. I slid the thick black folder across the polished table. Every document inside proved I had been the invisible owner. Then I announced my immediate resignation of the entire 51% stake to Vanguard. The room exploded in gasps. He owned more than her. The janitor was the real power. Elena's face drained of all color. Her hands trembled violently as she clutched the table. "Alex, what have you done? This is our life. Our daughter. Everything," she stammered, voice cracking into ugly sobs, mascara running in black rivers down her cheeks while Ryan shifted uncomfortably and looked anywhere but at her. The board stared in stunned silence. I felt only a profound, crystalline calm, the deepest satisfaction I had ever known. The consequences crashed down like an avalanche. Major clients terminated contracts within days. Vanguard's takeover became inevitable. Elena was stripped to a powerless Chief Visionary Officer title. Headlines screamed, "CEO's secret husband was the true architect." Then he vanished overnight. Ryan ghosted her completely. He later messaged me, "Respect, man. Never saw that coming." Her panic calls became a nightly ritual of escalating desperation. First, "Alex, please pick up." I was wrong, so horribly wrong. I'll never forgive myself. Then sobbing voicemails. The house is in foreclosure. Banks call the loans. Ryan won't even text back. Every single night, I hear myself saying, just the janitor and I want to die. She showed up at my new sailing club, hair wild, makeup smeared, falling to her knees on the dock in front of strangers. I'll do anything. Get on my knees right here. Please, Alex, I can't live without you. I looked down at the woman I once carried over the threshold and felt nothing but peace. I stepped onto the deck of my new 50-foot yacht, teak warm beneath my bare feet, and spoke the only words I would ever say to her again. You already introduced me to the world exactly as I am. A janitor. Turns out, even janitors can clean house. I cast off the lines and sailed away as her broken silhouette shrank on the pier, her cries swallowed by the wind. 6 months later, my new venture, Phoenix Capital, went public at a $2.8 billion valuation. Elena filed for personal bankruptcy the exact same week. Our daughter quietly told me that Elena keeps the magazine cover, the janitor who owned the building, on her nightstand and stares at my photo every night before crying herself to sleep. The final blow came one rainy evening when she dragged herself back to what used to be our home, hoping for reconciliation. Instead, she found a pristine white envelope of divorce papers waiting on the doorstep. She opened it right there, gasped, and collapsed against the doorframe in the pouring rain. Irrevocable, final, complete. Now I sail open waters on weekends, the salt spray kissing my face as the horizon stretches endlessly ahead. I mentor young entrepreneurs over steaming espresso in quiet cafes, watching their eyes light up the way Elena's once did for me. Our daughter and I have rebuilt something beautiful, honest, unbreakable. Betrayal didn't break me. It forged me into someone stronger, quieter, untouchable. Sometimes the ones who belittle you the most end up watching from the sidelines as you thrive. Untouchable, unbreakable, and finally, truly free. If you want more stories of betrayal and satisfying revenge, hit that subscribe button. I promise, there are more stories you won't believe.